The July 2025 market data is finally in, and we have seen that it's a record home median sales price achieved in Hampton Roads in the month of July. What does this really mean for buyers, and what does it really mean for sellers? Are we currently in a buyer's market, or is sellers still in control of this market currently in Hampton Roads? We're going to be breaking all that down and more for you, and we're going to talk to you about exactly what these numbers mean, so that way that you can strategize whether you're a buyer, seller, or even an investor on understanding what the market data is really showing us, how many days on market is really achievable right now, what the inventory levels look like, and how interest rates are even affecting our market in the Hampton Roads area versus the national averages as well too. We're going to break all this down for you, and if this is your first time here with us, my name is Craig Houston. I'm with the Moving in Norfolk team, and I love helping everyone understand exactly what is going on in our Hampton Roads market. So if you're thinking about moving to any parts of the 757, this is the channel for you. So I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell, so that way you can be the most informed viewer across the board when it comes to our Hampton Roads market. And I get phone calls and text messages from viewers like you each and every week, and I love every single moment of it. So take time out of your day right now to give me a call, shoot me a text at 757-294-8163. And I'll be there with you every step of the way. And that way, from now on, you won't have to worry about anything else, because I got you. So what does the data really tell us right now? At the top of this video, I just told you that the record median home price sales are up right now when it comes to what the average home price is in our market. Right now, we're seeing so much giving and taking in this market right now that I think it's very critical that we talk about exactly what our market data is actually really showing you. And we're going to get directly into the presentation and talk to you about these things, because I really want you to know what you're seeing right now is very achievable in this market right now. If you're a buyer, if you're a seller, you're still in somewhat of a control of this market. And it's going to be some of the tall tales that we always talk about and discuss, but we're going to go in a little bit more detail on these things, because it's very important that you know exactly what's going on in our market. So let's just jump directly into it. You'll see that the median sales price right now is at $365,000, which is about 5% growth year over year. And that means that you're seeing about price per square foot sits at about $198 right now. Now, even though this is the median sales price, this does not mean that every home in the Hampton Roads market starts or ends with at least being at $365. There's still deals that you can find. And if you're still a first-time home buyer, that market now sits between about $200,000 to $300,000 at minimum. But if you're talking about having about 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2.5 baths, 1,200 to 1,500 square feet, you could be in the realm of possibility about $275 to $305 to even just get into the first-time home buyer market in that market alone. So a lot of times this takes into consideration that a lot of people are still seeing that they'll want to spend about $150,000, they'll want to spend about $200,000. But reality has set in the Hampton Roads market that the $200,000 is now the $300,000 market, and the $100,000 market is now the $200,000 market. And we have come a long way in the last few years since the pandemic on understanding that home prices are not where they used to be at, and the payment that associates with those that we're going to talk about later with the interest rates make this even more effective. So that is something to really consider when it comes down to it. What is your budget maintains for? And how much home do you really need to in reference to that budget? Because a lot of these times, that's where I think a lot of the imbalance is coming at in this market when it comes to the perspective of buyers. On the half of when it comes to the sellers, though, you got to look at it as well, too, that sellers are now seeing achievable equity growth that has taken place in this market. Now, a lot of times when we talk to sellers at their listing appointments, when they're discussing about what their next steps is after the sale of their home, the problem that a lot of times that sellers run into, or that usually arise, is that yes, they may have a great interest rate today, but if they sell and cash in, now they're on the other side of in the buyer's market where the interest rates are not much as favorable at this point in time. So it's sometimes in best cases to kind of understand what is more important. Is it selling the home or getting the equity and then moving into an upgrade of a property, or a downsizing of a property, or relocating altogether? But also, could there be an opportunity for you here to where you could possibly rent the property out that you have right now at that lower interest rate, keep keep that interest rate in effect, actually get a profit in rent based on the mortgage versus the rent, and take that profit margin and actually place it into the next home that you may qualify for, and then offset your new mortgage as well too. So it's almost like having offset of a mortgage rate that you actually have. So if you want me to explain that in a lot more detail, I'm not going to get into the details of it and the weeds of it in this video. But if you want to see an example or two of that, we can go through that with you and show you exactly what this does. I talk to my clients about this all the time. Sometimes it's better to be an impromptu landlord versus being someone who's on the opposite side in the buyer's market, now assuming just a bigger interest rate in this market right now too. But there's always opportunities somewhere. We just always got to look for them and find the challenge in that as well too. So when you talk about what's going on in our market right now, what you will see is that active inventory is up 8% year over year. You'll see that new listings are coming in about 6.5% growth in the last year. So it's more sellers entering the market. So that means that there's more inventory in the market, which gives in turn buyers more opportunity in the market. And on average across Hampton Roads, we're seeing about 2.1 months of supply of inventory right now. So what this really means at this point in time is that you are still seeing activity happening each and every day in our market. Real estate transactions are continuing to happen every single day. But the main thing is now that buyers have more selectivity. They're not waiting in long lines to take a tour of a property. They're not being able to just go and say, you know what, I got to look at this property and write an offer today, because if I don't, I may miss out on it. Now, there are opportunities in this market where that could be a situation where you're not going to be the only one looking at that property, especially in areas like Virginia Beach and Chesapeake. We're still seeing that if a home comes on the market in these areas where they're in pristine condition, they are more in the more favorable neighborhoods where, especially where it has a powerful, great school zone in this market as well too. Those homes are not lasting long on the market, somewhere between 3 to 8 days. But in a lot of cases, they're going to have multiple offers. There's going to be more stricter competition. There's going to be less concessions given by the seller because they're going to have more than one offer to consider. And that's going to just be the case that you may have to unload a little bit more cash to get into those markets that you determine that you want to be in. This market is really unique and profound in just giving you 7 different flavors of what you can actually experience in amongst each one of these cities that you're going to be seeing listings coming from. So right now, with the month of supply inventory at 2.1, we're not yet considered to be in the buyer's market. We're being somewhere between 4 and 6 months of inventory at that point in time. But right now, you're still seeing selectivity in certain markets. And that gives a buyer an opportunity to be more choosy about the property that matches up with what they're actually looking for and considering. Now, if you're thinking about actually getting into our market and you're thinking about trying to figure out what's the best area for you, this is why I kind of want to just take a second and segue just a bit to kind of talk to you about exactly what you can find over at the movingtonorfolk.com website. So over here, you can find on our website guides and area guides that you can use to actually get into this market to understand more about it. So if you wanted to get over here and you wanted to check out what's going on in the market right now, you can use our area guides to actually be more selective about exactly what's going on. So like if you wanted to click the Norfolk area guide, it'll take you to the Norfolk area guide. It'll show you everything that you need to know about Norfolk. We actually have our #1 video over in Norfolk right now listed as well. Then you have notable neighborhoods within that market. But every video that you'll want to see over by Norfolk right now on our channel would be actually here for you as well. And you can click directly on those. And then you have listings for Norfolk. And then you have a lot of general information to know about Norfolk as well. And if you wanted to get the full market report specifically for Norfolk, this is where you can actually access that as well too and take advantage of our helpful area guys over here. So if you really wanted to get more detailed information about everything that's taking place over in Norfolk right now, I would suggest go ahead and head over to the movingtonorfolk.com website. And this will be exactly the area that you can actually pay attention to and get a lot more information. So I hope that we curated this website directly for you, because I wanted to be able to give my clients and people who actually visit the YouTube page for movingtonorfolk.com a lot more information in detail that they can actually use all in one place. So I hope that you take advantage of this. Go ahead and head over to movingtonorfolk.com. It's going to give you a lot of opportunities over there as well. But let's get back to our presentation, because we still got more to discuss when it comes over to exactly what's going on in our market. Now, when you see days on market, you're going to see this is at about 17 to 19 days on market. To me, against the national median average, this is still within well range. If you're a listing agent, if you're a buyer's in a buyer market, you have a lot of opportunities here. So when I see 17 to 19 days, here's what I consider. you're still actually being able to get under contract within less than a month, and it's taking less than 60 days to actually sell your home. A lot of times, prior to the pandemic, we were seeing homes on the market somewhere between 40 to 60 days before they actually received the offer that was acceptable. So this market is still moving very fluidly, in my opinion. And when a market is moving like this is one of those times where you have to consider your better options. And like I said before, this is telling me that buyers are still being a lot more selective, because at one point in time during this market period around 2024, we were seeing this number down to 12 to 14 days on market. 2 weeks is what you was actually seeing at some points. So for me, this is still tells me that there's a lot of opportunity for buyers in this market right now, and even for sellers. Being able to put your home on the market in preparation for your next move, whether you're relocating, whether you're just looking to upgrade or downsize, or maybe you're just talking about you want to make a universal shift to a whole different area, like out of the country, have been able to make those decisions swiftly and get your home off the market that quick tells me that there's still a lot of opportunities in this market for both sellers and for buyers at this point in time as well. So, and you'll notice that if it's under 300,000, we're seeing about 15 days on market on average. If it's somewhere between 300 and 450,000, we're about 12 days on the market on average. And then 450,000 plus, you're seeing about 24 days on market. So we have a very healthy market at this time in these price points. Okay. So mortgage rates are at a 2-month low. Now, I know they're not at the pandemic level when they was in the 2s. I know they're not in the pandemic level when they was in the 3s. And in certain cases, I want you to comment down below if you have less than a 4% interest rate at this point in time right now in the market. Now, really and truly, what's going on right now is that we're seeing some type of push and pull being given based on the tariffs that's going on in the market, based on what we're seeing from inflation. And we're still trying to understand the balance and the offset of what's going to happen with the job numbers that we're starting to see come in. Now, what you're seeing right now, that the current rates at this point in time is at 6.68% fixed. And then you'll see that the 15-year fix is at about 5.95. Now, the year-end forecast, because they're pricing in right now a cut coming up in September on the interest rates, but we're starting to try to get a little bit more understanding that there may be a few more cuts before the end of December. So right now, the targeted expected forecast for the interest rates right now is going to be somewhere between 6.2 to 6.4. Now, I tell you all the time, if you've been following me for a while, that if any one of these numbers on the interest rates have a 5 in front of it on a 30-year fix, the market is going to go crazy. I believe that we're going to see a buying frenzy that's being the pent up demand waiting for a 5.9 or less. Trust me and believe me that that's going to happen. So I always like to talk to buyers about this situation like this. If right now that you can possibly be in the market and you can get seller concessions to actually help you offset your costs to get into a home before interest rate boom, I think that is the better opportunity. Now, not saying that your payment is not going to be ideal. Your payment's not going to be really ideal with a 5 in front of it either, if you already have a concern about a 6. But realistically, sellers are really negotiating right now. But when this thing goes back down to a 5 with any number, trust and believe me, in this Hampton Roads market, you're going to see a market boom. That monthly supply of inventory is going to drop again, and we're going to be in a situation where we're going to be looking for homes to actually put on the market, because it just won't stay hot enough for the market, because the interest rates are going to continue to make these homes slide right off the market, and sellers are going to start to see a little bit of a more of an increase in premium that they're going to receive from their equity at that same time as well too. So prepare well. If you're going to wait for a 5% anything, definitely continue to save now and be ready to spend money that you got saved up. But right now, if you're in the market and you're thinking that you can afford the payment versus renting, and you're thinking about that right now, this is probably a situation where you may want to consider, I need to take the leap now before inflation changes, before the job numbers get worse, tariffs last longer than we expect, and that boosts the economy down to where we got to start taking into effect the interest rates as well too. A lot of this stuff is a moving target, but I really want you to understand that you control the narrative right now. So take advantage of taking control of your story that you're willing to tell, that you jumped into the market ahead in advance of the market starting to take a downtrend in interest rates, but you was able to get into the house, understand you made your 6 months worth of payments, and if the interest rates come down to 5.5, you can actually refinance at that point in time, and it's like nothing really happened, but you got the home that you really wanted off the market, and you're not in the market frenzy dealing with the buyer competition and the buyer demand that's going to be actually in the market thriving at that point in time. So I really think that's something to consider going forward. And I really want to make sure that I stress that enough, that don't let me convince you. Just understand that the market is going to show you what's really going to happen. And I want to kind of prepare you, regardless of how you want to handle it, about the best opportunities that you're going to have and the outcomes that's going to be very effective at this point in time. So let's talk about what's happening in your cities, okay? Virginia Beach, you're seeing a median 425,000 on home prices right now. Days on market is going to be about 14 days, and the hottest areas in Virginia Beach right now is going to be the Oceanfront, Hilltop, and Kempsville. But then if you're looking at Norfolk, that's our number 2 market that's coming in hot right now at a 310,000 median home price. That's about a 6.8% year-over-year increase. Days on market is going to be about 16 days, and the hottest areas are going to be Ghent, Colonial Place, and Larchmont. But then over in Chesapeake, you're seeing, excuse me, in Chesapeake, you're seeing 385,000, whatever, 0.35, what, a 3.5 year-over-year increase, 18 days on the market, and Great Bridge, Greenbrier, and Western Branch are the hot markets in those segments as well, too. Now, we're seeing this across the board in other areas as well, but these are the 3 that we're highlighting right now because these areas have really been trending vastly right now in our market. And this is one of those things where if you want to learn more about those areas, go ahead and use our links down below to check out some of the best videos that we have here on the channel when it comes to those markets. And they're always growing ever bestly. This is why I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell, so that way you can always be notified when a new video hits. Right now, we just released 2 new Chesapeake videos not too long ago, where we did Bryan's Cove and we did the Landings at Grassfield. And those markets are tremendous right now. Landings at Grassfield doesn't even have any active listings on the market right now because it's a very popular neighborhood. But once another listing comes on there, it won't last long, folks. So this is why I tell you want to be subscribed to our channel, because we're always keeping you most informed, and we always going to keep on top of things that's going on in our market. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, let's talk about what buyers should do here, okay? Let's just talk about that for a second and kind of give you an idea of what I think from a perspective on what buyers need to be worried about, okay? So we already talked about how the interest rate window is actually an opportunity right now in the +6s. Anything below sub 6, you're going to see that the market is going to turn into a frenzy, and applications are going to be going through the roof, and we're going to see more buyer demand in the market, which is going to lead to sellers getting more than one offer on multiple homes, okay? Then more inventory equals more choice right now. So you're able to be selective right now in this point in time based on what the interest rate environment is actually contributing to right now. But if that interest rate environment changes, that means less inventory, means less choices, okay? So make sure that you're understanding your perspective that you're going to have right now as we continue to move through these options now. Now, seller concessions are returning. Like 22% of homes that sold in the month of July actually had some type of seller concession. Now, that's very important to note, because during the pandemic, you was paying a lot more out of pocket to get into a lot of these homes, unless it was just one of those homes that was uniquely on the market longer and the seller was willing to offload it sooner to get out of it because they just had a stressful situation with that home in certain cases. Now, with that being said, I'm actually starting to see a lot more short sale opportunities coming on the market. So also we want to talk about affordability right here. You don't want to overextend yourself to get into a home because it meets all the bells and whistles that you actually have. You want to make sure you're in a confined environment, okay? And what does that mean? That means that you can afford the payment regardless of what the interest rate environment is. That means that if you got a fixed rate, that if it goes up, you don't have to worry about the payment increases. But if it goes down, you can always refinance and have a little bit more equity taken into consideration. But also, you want to make sure that you're in a home where if your insurance premiums are going to change, you're able to take care of that as well, too. A lot of people worry about taxes. And I can tell you, you want to always worry about your taxes because that's going to be one of the major contributing factors to your payment. But if property taxes is going up on your home, that most likely means that your equity is going up on your home as well too. And they are usually going to equity is going to usually outpace what you're going to pay in taxes. Okay. So There's unique situations where that doesn't happen, but make sure that you're actually in a situation where you don't end up in a short sale environment. That's what we mostly care about here right now. And I want to make sure I stress that heavily to you, okay? Now, sellers, the summer is almost over now. The summer's almost over. School is about to get ready to start. I know you're worried about if you're about to put your home on the market, what are some of the things that you can do that you can take into consideration? Well, we're always going to talk about professional staging, strategic pricing, and pre-listing inspections, okay? So we always like to walk the properties with our clients, talk about some of the things that they feel like they have challenges or concerns with when it comes to a property. When we talk about these things, we also put a method in place where we can actually get those things turned around and corrected. But also strategic pricing is going to be a factor here as well, because based on what's going on in certain communities, you may have a community that's a hot turnover rate community. A hot turnover rate community is usually somewhere between 6 to 8% of the inventory in that community usually comes on the market every year or within the last 12 months. When this happens, you want to make sure that you are strategically priced in comparison to the units in your market, and you want to make sure that you're competitively priced to where people want to actually consider your home over others in your community. We go through this full detailed prospecting situation with our clients prior to actually listing their home on the market. Now, professional staging is another category that you'll want to take into consideration here as well too. A lot of homes already have beautiful furniture. We can use some of the furniture that you already have for staging, or we can also just bring in professional staging if necessary. Now, in a lot of cases, sometimes not having and using virtual staging is another option that we have as well too. We have a lot of opportunity here to help our sellers find out the best way possible to get the best return of people putting foot traffic to their home to actually land an offer to actually get you to close. So I feel like we have a great listing presentation. If you want to learn more about it, definitely use our information down below. You can use that book a call with us, or use that movinginnorfolk.com/contact Craig to actually get in contact with me, and we can talk about these things as well too with you. So let's talk about opportunities in transitional neighborhoods. Every situation in every neighborhood is going to be different, okay? We have Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton, Newport News, and Portsmouth, and all these areas have opportunities in every one of these neighborhoods. These are highlights of the neighborhoods that we're seeing right now based on July's trends and activities that's taking place right now, with Norfolk having Park Place, South Norfolk having Chesapeake, Chesapeake having South Norfolk, and then also Phoebus over in Hampton right now. These areas right now are some of the major ones that we've seen a lot more activity and a lot more movement in the last 30 days. But next month, they may be different again. So every single one of these neighborhoods have opportunity. And this is where you're going to see the buyer pool actually starting to land at a little bit more. So we are looking back at this in about another 3 to 4 years, and we may see this trend again with this neighborhood, where, because on average, the average buyer is now moving every 4 to 6 years or so. So we could see this happen again, where this market sees this type of trend once more. What this tells me is that buyers are looking for actual deals. They're looking for something that they can afford, but it also gives them the best bang for their buck, and the price per square foot matches up with what they're looking for on a payment value. So a lot of times this is what we're seeing, and this market is going to continue to see this trend here. If you want to know more about some of these transitional neighborhoods where you're seeing that a lot more buyers are actually moving into, and you're thinking about pricing demand, definitely reach out to us, let us know, and we can actually have a one-on-one consult with you and talk about this a little bit more. So I think that's very something to be intrigued about and to understand a lot more about. So are you ready to make a move? If you are, definitely feel free to use our link down below for the movinginnorfolk.com, and you can just definitely reach out to us. You can register there. You can hit us with a contact card. You can download area guides there. You can actually download all the relocation guides that you need. Anything that you want to know about the Hampton Roads market, we have over there. And I definitely want to make sure that you always know that you can give me a call, you can shoot me a text, or you can always go ahead and just book a call by shooting a text at 757-294-8163. I hope you found value in this content. Definitely leave me a link down below comment down below. Let me know if you found value in this. I really want to know how these presentations are working out for you, because we want to continue to make sure that we provide value at every single turn, at every single way. So if you could just leave me a comment down below, let me know how you feel about the market updates that we're providing you, all the content that we're giving you right now, and everything that we're doing in our power to make sure that you can be the most informed buyer, seller, or investor or relocator to our Hampton Roads market at any point in time. Catch you in the next video. Y'all can stay safe. By the way, check out this video right here, because this video right here, it's a banger as well too. Peace.